There'll be snow, I'm assuming. But this is WoW's darkest secret. I'm gonna watch this while I eat. And then surrounding areas, yeah. The metro area. But let's watch this. WoW's darkest secret. I bet, dog.
I'm going to start this off by saying whatever the hell you do not look in the comment section below. Though I don't usually get many, if any, comments on my productions, the ones that are there will no doubt spoil what is to come. So go into full screen mode and let me show you this, because I promise you, it's going to blow your mind. I believe I've made a WoW discovery that literally no one else has ever found. No matter how much I try to look it up, there's never any results.
Yeah, what's up, bro?
No DuckDuck searches, no YouTube videos, nothing. And that's pretty damn surprising, considering this is a game from 2004 that we're talking about here. This is the vanilla WoW world map. As you can see, there's only two continents, Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor. Let me ask you a question. Out of all the zones in these two continents, which one is the most forgettable? I'll give you a few seconds to think about it.
Star Shore. Just kidding. You're gonna be mad. Still at this.
Alright, time's up. I imagine that the vast majority of people probably answered with Desolus, Silithus, Alterac Mountains, Deadwind Pass, you know, the usual suspects. But there's one zone in Vanilla WoW that literally everyone knows about, but is almost universally forgotten. And that zone is Stone Talon Mountains.
Oh, I was about to say
Stone Talon Mountains is a contested zone that shares a border with the Barrens and Desolus. The fact that it's a contested zone is quite interesting in of itself, as despite there being many low-level Horde quests available here, for Alliance players, there's almost nothing at all. In fact, I'd be willing to bet that if you're an Alliance main like me, you've probably never even been here before. The zone itself has an extremely unusual design, and there really is nothing else like it in the game. It's essentially one giant valley that connects to three different open chasms that are completely different to one another. Due to the zone's odd layout and frustrating quests, even many Horde players tend to skip it entirely when leveling. But I'm not here to talk about the zone or even its quests, but something much weirder.
I'm watching it all.
We all know that WoW has a day-night cycle that is in sync with the server's time zone. If it's daytime in real life, then it will be daytime in game too. If it's nighttime in real life, then it will be nighttime in game too. A zone's atmosphere can change significantly depending on whether it's day or night, but this is true especially for Stone Talon Mountains. During the day, Stone Talon Mountains just looks and feels like a pretty typical looking place. A bit of trees here, a bit of grass there, but at night, this zone and the way it feels to be in it almost completely changes. From the hours of midnight to 5 AM, music no longer plays in the zone. Instead, all you can hear is this strange wind ambience that sounds really freaky. What's weirder is that at night, the entire zone has this creepy red tint to it for seemingly no reason. And there's a ton of fog that limits how far you can see. Not sure if you can really notice it here, but the difference when it's daytime is really, well,
you gotta give it a sub, my boy.
Now obviously when I first discovered this, I was confused just as much as you probably are. Why is it like this? No other zone has effects like these at night. It just seems weird. And again, no matter how much I looked into it, no one had an answer. But that's not even why I'm making this, because yeah, it's weird, but it could just be some sort of attempt at atmospheric immersion. No, I'm making this because of a strange phenomenon that kept happening to my character here. If you know me, then you'll know that I'm pretty much nocturnal, as in seriously nocturnal.
Who's getting naked first?
I'm always up at night and in the early hours of the morning because that's just how I like it. As a result, whenever I play WoW,
we're watching a video about this game. It's darkest secret or some shit, some creepy shit, bro.
Always in the dark. That's how I noticed how weird Stone Talon Mountains was in the first place. In classic WoW, I had an orc warrior called Warzerk that I would occasionally level up to see what the Horde side of the game was like. Just a way to relax and see what I would have otherwise missed out on my Alliance main. Stone Talon Mountains was one of the zones I ended up leveling in. I remember being taken aback at what a weird, almost psychedelic dreamscape the zone felt like. It reminded me of somewhere where a nightmare would take place, but again, I didn't think anything of it until this happened. This is a screenshot I took at 2:14 AM on the 20th of October 2020. I'm in the Windshear Crag part of the zone, and as you can see, my character is dead. You're probably thinking that a mob must have got me or something, but no. The reason I took this screenshot is because my character just died, instantly, for no reason whatsoever. I was just running around doing some quest when he just dropped dead. At first I thought that maybe a high-level rogue had got me, then vanished or something, but I didn't see any. And according to my combat log, nothing happened. He just died. I kept this screenshot because I thought I would put it in a future production of mine, as at the time there was a lot of uproar about how badly Blizzard maintained classic WoW, with there being a ton of bots and gold sellers flying around. I figured it wouldn't be out of the ordinary for there to be bugs like this too, as, after all, this is Blizzard we're talking about here. Either way, I rezzed up and carried on with my questing.
You still work for a nerd-ass company, Brian?
24 hours later, and I am, once again, questing in the Windshear Crag. Everything was going smoothly, until once again, bam. It happened again. Instant death, no combat log, just dead. I had never experienced...
Hey bro, I got a 1070 Ti Founders Edition, pussy.
...anything quite like this. I mean, yeah, WoW could be buggy, but it's never been this bad. I looked back at the screenshot I took the night before and noticed something really unusual. The time of death on both shots was exactly the same, 2:14 AM. That was just way too much of a coincidence to ignore. I tried to make a post on r/classicwow to ask if anyone knew what kept happening to my character, but it got removed, and then I was banned for no reason.
Someone's watching me.
So, yeah, pretty standard.
What the fuck?
I decided that this was way too much of a coincidence to ignore, so I conjured a plan. The next night, at 2:14 AM, I would have my recorder on, just in case my character died again, so that I would have proof of this weird bug in action. The following is what I captured.
I'm genuinely kind of freaked out.
Nothing. I waited around for a few minutes longer, but it just wasn't happening. I figured that it really must have been just a weird coincidence. Feeling disappointed, I turned off my recorder and carried on questing. But then, boom. It happened again. This time at 2:47 AM. 3 deaths in a row on 3 different days. But why was this one at a different time than the others? The only difference I noticed between the last shot and the first 2 is that on the last one, I was at the Charred Vale part of the zone, whereas with the first 2, I was in the Windshear Crag. So, I had another idea. What if I went to the Windshear Crag at 2:14 AM and had my recorder on then instead? Maybe there, it would happen again. So, once again, I set my character there and waited.
If I ever need to sleep, I'm gonna log on to this live. Fair enough.
Holy shit. I now had video evidence of this so-called bug in action. But honestly, at this point, I was starting to think there has to be something more to this. Out of curiosity, I wondered that if I went to the Charred Vale at 2:47 again, if it would happen there too. Sure enough, it did.
I see.
2:14 a.m. in the Windshear Crag and 2:47 a.m. in the Charred Vale.
To the ogre's
I
nuts
didn't
like
know
that.
what it was, but for some reason, at those times, my character would always just drop dead.
He likes
It was
ogre
as if
nuts,
there was an
bro. You don't
invisible
like ogre
GM
nuts?
playing
Well,
some sort of
off to
practical
visit
joke
your
or something
mother.
like that. But we're not done yet. At the very top of the zone lies the third chasm.
Armed and dangerous!
We're about to freestyle with
Not
Keeper.
again!
Videos.
Not again!
They did.
I would like to watch the video.
2:28 a.m. I tested this again the next day, and it happened yet again. 2:14 a.m. in the Windshear Crag, 2:47 a.m. in the Charred Vale, 2:28 in the Stone Talon Peak. Every night, at those times, my character would die without failure or explanation. It would never happen in the valley part of the zone, only in the chasms at those exact times. This wasn't a coincidence at this point. I tried to see if anyone else was in the zone at the same time as me, but literally no one ever was. Not too surprising, as this character is on Dragonfang, which is, yeah, a very dead server to say the least. None of my friends still played, so I couldn't exactly ask them to get a subscription just to test this. And whenever I would ask other people to come to Stone Talon Mountains so that I could watch them drop dead, they were surprisingly uncooperative. I decided to do some hardcore research to see if anyone else had noticed this, scrubbing almost the entire internet for even a nugget of information. But alas,
ogre? That's still wrong. It's R first. And it's not even an ogre. It's not even a fucking ogre, it's an orc.
yes, nothing. Well, nothing. Except that 2 years ago, back when Classic WoW launched, an old Blizzard developer who had long since left the company, Mike Crond, did a Q&A on the r/WoW subreddit, whereby he answered people's questions about what it was like developing the vanilla game. In his opening remarks, he mentioned that he was behind zones such as Desolus, Feralas, Ashenvale, and Stone Talon Mountains. Despite the Q&A being 2 years ago now, I noticed that Mike was very active on Reddit, albeit almost always posting about non-WoW related stuff. Now, I'm not usually one to pry, but man, if anyone knew what was going on here, it would be this guy, and I'm in way too deep to quit now. I just had to ask. So I did. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I had no idea how to open a conversation with a guy who I don't know, and who doesn't know me. I'm not a journalist, I'm a WoW player. By nature,
a fucking hater.
I'm very
You're not even subbed, bitch. Shut up.
antisocial and tend not to talk to people unless they talk to me. But this guy wasn't just going to talk to me by himself, so I decided to try to play it cool. Didn't want to come off as too pushy or anything like that. So I said, "Hey there, is it true you worked on Vanilla WoW back in the day?" Honestly, I didn't expect to get an answer, but shockingly enough, he responded almost instantly. Yup.
Chronically online.
Well, it's better than nothing, I guess. The
Fair
ice
enough.
was broken.
I appreciate that.
I just had a question about one of the zones. Nothing serious. Just some trivia that I wondered if you could answer.
500k a year, can't even
minutes later.
resub to 5 a month.
Shoot.
Just saying.
Talkative guy. I've been on Classic WoW recently and leveling up in
just
Stone
saying.
Talon Mountains. I've noticed that for some reason, my character dies at set times in the early hours of the morning for seemingly no reason. I know it sounds bonkers, but do you have any idea?
True, bro. Yeah, bro. Cynical did do 17 today, and Justice did do 18 today. That's kind of crazy.
Why that is?
That's not true at all, Brian.
It's been driving me crazy for days now. After I asked this, the guy just went completely silent.
You've been outbid.
I'll be honest, I was pretty pissed off. If anyone would know why, it would be this guy, and he just bailed on me for no reason. I figured that all hope was lost and that I'd never know what was behind this. And with my limited audience, there was no way I could make a big enough deal out of it to try to get people to figure it out. So, case closed, I guess. Or so I thought. I am not joking with you. 10 months later, I get another message from Mike. The message literally just said, "The SoCal Lady Killer." I'm like, what? No response. Guy just goes completely quiet again. The SoCal Lady Killer? What the heck was that?
Yes,
I thought that perhaps he had meant to message someone else and this was sent to me by accident. Decided to look into it, and this is what came up. The SoCal lady
Dude, you're such a hater, Brian. That's my boy Cynical, dog. How you gonna hate on my boy Cynical like that?
killer is the nickname given to an unidentified
hater,
serial
bro.
killer who is believed to be behind the murder of 3 women in Southern California
You
throughout
such
the
a
years
hater,
of 1995 and 1996.
Hey, fuck you. Fuck you and your food.
Though there
You
is
probably
no
rub your nuts on it.
direct evidence that links the 3 murders together, the modus operandi of the killer was seemingly identical in all of the cases, with the victims' bodies being mutilated in an almost identical fashion each time.
What the fuck?
The 3 women, all of which were prostitutes, were believed to be lured to a secluded area by the killer, whereby they were then murdered. Again, I had no idea what this had to do with what I asked, until I read this part. The first victim was 28-year-old Whitney Fangson.
Yeah, what about that?
On the 2nd of August 1995, her body was found on the outskirts of the Wind Shear
No,
Lumber
give me your money, Brian. Give me your money.
Mill.
Give me all
My name
your
is
money.
Cecilia. I'm a mom of 2 girls,
Bro,
a psychologist.
Cecilia, no one give a shit.
The body was found on the outskirts of the Wind Shear Lumber Mill.
What?
Police reports state that she was officially declared dead at 2:14 a.m.
Because
4
you can't
months
stop
later, on
watching
the
because
5th
it's
of
so
December
entertaining. That's why I
1995, 25-year-old Sophie Riven was found in an almost identical
even
state
subbed, by
at
the
a
way.
hotel room in the nearby village of Los Chared.
Big true, Brian. Big fucking true.
Police reports state that she was declared dead at 2:47 a.m. The third and final victim was 32-year-old Amy Rassan, who 2 months later, on the 17th of February
What the hell, I like that.
1996, was found dead by climbers
Cheers
at the
to
base
that.
of Sokol
Cheers.
Peak. Police reports state that she was declared dead at 2:28 a.m. Wind Shear Lumber Mill was the basis for Wind Shear Crag. Los
a
Chared
minute.
was the basis for the Charred Vale. Sokol
Did they
Peak
catch this guy?
was the basis for Stone Talon Peak. In addition, the timing of the victims' deaths correlate exactly with the timing of my characters. The mystery had been solved. The seemingly random deaths are an Easter egg referencing the
17.
SoCal lady killer. But
Yeah, close enough.
that's a pretty weird Easter egg, don't you think?
Brian, you ain't even been following that long, dude. You ain't even been following that long. I am a victim of child labor. I am.
Went to ask Mike what on earth made him want to add that in the game. But again, I got no response. But this time, it was different. You see, in the past when I was blanked, Mike was still actively using Reddit obsessively on a daily basis. But ever since that last message, he had stopped completely.
Right.
Not many people know this, but the state of California actually has an online public database of all its residents that states basic information about them, such as their criminal record, driving viability, and yes, whether they are dead or alive. Well, you're never gonna believe what I found. Michael John Crond, 54, death by suicide, on the 13th of August 2021. The exact same day that he last messaged me.
Wait, is this the
Ladies
dude
and
that did
gentlemen,
it?
Mike Crond, World of Warcraft developer from 2004 to 2006, was the SoCal Lady Killer. Stone Talon Mountains, a zone which he designed, is nothing more than a direct reference to the crimes he committed 10 years prior to joining Blizzard. It is an open mockery of his victims, hiding the truth in plain sight while taking great pleasure in how no one else can see it.
Dude, what the
Typical
fuck?
serial killer behavior. But if you aren't convinced
And
yet,
this dude solved
then
it
let
and
me
then
show
he
you
killed
this.
himself. What a pussy,
Every
bro.
single chasm has a rare mob that is a direct reference to one of the victims. Whitney Fangson died outside of the Wind Shear Lumber Mill. Meanwhile, in the Wind Shear Crag, there's an NPC called Taskmaster Whipfang. Sophie Riven died in Los Chared. Meanwhile, in the Charred Vale, there's an NPC called Sister Riven. Amy Rasan died on the base of Sokol Peak. Meanwhile, in the Stone Talon Peak, there's an NPC called Sentinel Amma Rasan. The cherry on top. In the only safe place in the entire zone, the Sunrock Retreat, is an NPC called Krond. Krond, the Butcher.
Oh my god.
So the question you're probably asking yourself is, why? Why would he commit suicide? Well, the answer becomes crystal clear if we go back to the SoCal Lady Killer's wiki page.
Dude, what the fuck?
It reads, after being a cold case for over 25 years, on the 2nd of August 2021, LAPD Police Chief Ed Jens announced that the SoCal Lady Killer case had been reopened due to advances in forensic technology that may help finally bring the victims some justice.
He was gonna get found
Mike
out.
Krond knew that he was about to be found out. Thus, he ended his own life as to escape justice.
Fucking
But
pussy.
folks, do you want to know the worst
you gonna
part
get your justice,
about
my
all
boy.
of this? The worst part is,
This is fake.
I just made all that up. That's right, Mike Krond is not a serial killer. In fact, Mike Krond isn't even real. Hell, his picture isn't even real. It was generated by an AI. There's no such thing as the SoCal Lady Killer, and my character didn't even die randomly in the Stone Talon Mountains. I just got a friend of mine to use the neutral auction house to trade me a dark rune. Hell, even the character isn't even the same. So, the question you must be asking is, why? Why did I make up this entire story? Well, you see, it's simple. If I can come up with an interesting and somewhat believable story that grips people enough to keep them listening for 20 minutes, about the pissing Stone Talon Mountains no less, then Blizzard has no excuse to not write a good story of their own, especially with their ridiculously overpaid writing team at their disposal. Dear WoW lore team, get it together, you absolute amateurs.
Wix gives you the power.
Dude, are you actually... Dude. Dude. Dude, oh my god. I was totally convinced. Completely convinced. Shut the fuck up, Brian. Brian, I'm about to crash out on this fucking dweeb. Brian, shut the fuck up! Brian! Nobody gives a fuck you make $500,000 a year, okay, Brian? Shut the fuck up! Shut up! You fucking bitch! How about you ship me a fucking NVIDIA 3080, you fucking bitch? Talking about all that fucking money you make. How about you eat my fucking cock while you're at it, bitch? Shut the fuck up! Fucking bitch. 30 minutes of my life wasted. It's nothing new. I play World of Warcraft all the fucking time. Oh shit, I'm getting jumped.